welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And obviously, just as you are, we're also very, maybe we shouldn't be surprised at this scoreline. I think in the past few months or in the current regime that we are under, it looks like the Black Stars just cannot deliver. They try their best, but Nkoye, no matter what they do, and all manner of reasons have been offered. And look at the jubilation there by the Nigerians on the pitch and their fans outside. You can see them, just in the perimeter there. You can understand why Niger and Ghana, we share a lot in common, and a lot maybe not so much in common, but there are a lot of Nigerians in the capital, especially Accra, and you can't begrudge them. I think on the balance of play for an away team and the manner in which perhaps they were written off, even at this stage, they deserve their win. And Otuado there, consoling his players. I'm not too sure much more can be done. And Kudus Mohammed, uncharacteristically missing that final penalty just to salvage a draw for the Black Stars wasn't possible. And even the opponents trying to, give him some words of consolation. So, Ghana finished the bottom of the group on 3 points. The last time that happened was many, many years ago. Felix Romark, the man with the statistics, would confirm on that. But Felix, Prince Hanan, as the shots remain on screen, your thoughts? Ghana, we knew, would have to do something for pride, but rather the opposite has happened.
Well, pride. It's a very tall order, but I won't get into the nitty-gritties of it. We played against a well-composed team. We lost against a team that was determined to outplay us. We had no antidote to everything they gave to us. Kudus could have saved the day for us, but unfortunately that didn't happen, which means that, we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of homework to do. It's a multifaceted regime that we face now. You can't put the blame squarely on the doorstep of the head coach or the technical team or the GFA or the ministry or the NSA, as it were. It's a multifaceted thing. And we will have to really dig deep to find out where exactly the problem is. So that
we still don't know where the problem is? I think by now we should.
I don't think so. If we knew where the problem was, we shouldn't have lost the game today. At least as status.
I may have to disagree. Where sometimes people know the problem, but they don't even accept that there's a problem, and that's a problem.
So can I tell you the problems?
All right, let's help us out.
One, I think psychologically there's something wrong with the team. There is a fear factor, and I'm not basing my statements on this particular game.
Per the statistics.
Yes, from Afconq, let's say the last two Afconqs, throughout the World Cup qualifiers, throughout this particular qualifiers. Because I look at these same players wearing different kind of jerseys or kit, playing for their individual clubs, week in, week out in Europe, and they are doing excellent jobs. The problem is not the material that we have. Psychologically, there is something wrong with this particular Black Stars team. That is the first problem. Secondly, we have an inexperienced technical team. And when I talk about the technical team, from Otuado is the head coach to everybody on the bench. And I say that because of how the team has been managed. And when I talk about management, in terms of games, in terms of how we've managed games, in terms of tactical approach, look at the goals or the kind of goals that we have been conceding in our last 4 games. In this particular game, we conceded 2 similar goals. We were giving out free headers. We had about 6 players in the box.
Marking themselves.
I don't know whether they were doing zonal marking, man marking. We can't see when you have a team that is making the same mistake, then there's a problem. It means that the players are not being coached well, or the technical team has no answers to the problem. So we have an inexperienced team. Look at the top 10 teams in Africa. Which of this country will appoint Otuado as coach? Nobody. He won't coach the Egyptian team. He won't coach the Ivorian team. He won't coach the Nigerian team. He won't coach the Algerian team or the South African team because he has no experience.
So okay. So maybe going back to what Prince was saying, he's not too sure where to align it. So who makes the appointments?
So that's what I'm coming. So psychologically, technically, and the people in charge, the decision makers. Because if the FA president and members of the ESCO go out there to appoint a coach, and the coach is not doing well, then they have to question themselves. Because you can't bring out 5 coaches since you came into power, and none of them have been able to get the best out of this profile of players. These are players that are playing in the top leagues in Europe. They are playing in French Ligue 1, they are playing in the Italian League, they are playing in the Premier League, they are playing in the Champions League, some are playing in the Europa League. We don't have bad materials. The people making the appointment, the technical team, they are the problem. They are the problem. It looks like currently the people in charge of the football are more, their concentration is more towards the World Cup
towards
than
the end.
Afconq.
Towards the end, before Niger scored, we had a chance like this, but it looked like was it fatigue, lack of concentration?
It is not fatigue. See, there's so much pressure on these young boys.
But they're used to it.
See, that's what I'm saying. They are where they play at their clubs
Every week.
They have the luxury. See, Antoine Semenyo can make a mistake at Bournemouth. He knows that the fans will clap for him, the coaches will encourage him, another opportunity will come. These players are playing with the fear of making mistakes. It tells you that psychologically there's something wrong. And when you have an inexperienced coach, it is difficult for him to manage the psychological aspect of the game. That is a fact.
But the Black Stars Management Committee Chairman, Akwesi Ajiman, he's the head of Ghana Tourism, says this is not the right time to change Otuado. So it's possible to qualify for the World Cup.
In any serious football jurisdiction,
He should resign.
No, I'm coming. In any serious football jurisdiction, by 8 p.m. this evening, the FA president will resign, ESCO will be dissolved, the management committee of the Black Stars will be dissolved, the coach will be sacked.
Yeah, but Felix, you're talking about serious. We are
not serious. And that is why we can't find solution to the problems of the national team.
Yeah, the ESCO are party to this. They're okay. The FA president is okay.
ESCO and the FA president appoint coaches. They are the ones who select a committee to go and look for coaches. So if the committee that you select are not picking up the right coaches, who should take the blame?
But they won't resign. So what happens then?
Yeah, so because they have no integrity.
Well, Prince.
Well, there are different schools of thought that go into some of these thoughts and some of these things. Obviously, unless I am wrong, I would want to believe that Felix is speaking as an, what his thoughts and his views clearly show how the Ghanaian feels. Because we've not been in a situation like this before, especially with our senior national team. We haven't. And so to a lot of people, it is a situation that calls for a rapid radical source of change, a source of impositions into what should be done, the next step that we should take. Obviously, even before the game, we spoke to a cross-section of people on the streets of Accra, and look at the sentiments that they poured out. Clearly shows that there must be something fundamentally wrong. It could be psychological, as Felix is saying. But you see, we need to, and that is where I would like to use a cliche that I feel or think that has been overused. We need to go back to the drawing board. Where is the problem coming from? Once we are able to identify where the problem is, then we can look for steps to, as it were, counter the problems that we are facing. Felix said it just before the match began that EXCO will be meeting. I'm not too sure what they are going to. I'm not too sure what they are going to discuss.
Maybe they meet and decide that they're all going to resign,
or discuss themselves, and be very honest with themselves and say, you know what, I think that we goofed. We goofed. Wrong appointment.
Yeah. We goofed.
See,
okay. So even if that is the case, of which a lot of people have called. I mean, we spoke to about, let's say, about 15 people on the streets of Accra. How many people spoke about the inadequacies of our head coach? which means that it is a problem.
Yes.
And so we need to address the problem. Personally, Yao, the gentlemen on the field of play, I don't think they are a bad setup. Personally, I don't think they are a bad setup. But we need to find out where the problem is. Because for Ghana to play at the Accra Sports Stadium and lose to Niger is unheard of.
Perhaps we're the problem. We have this entitlement.
The expectations are not too much. You know, the expectations are not too much.
On that note,
but we're feeling that, look, at this present time, when the minnows are catching up,
there are no
advancement. There are no minnows anymore. So we should have taken advantage and gone forward.
Prince, thank you so much. Pray Boy is waiting. Felix, thank you. God willing, on Tuesday, tomorrow, we will catch up with you and bring you an update and review. Remember, other teams will be playing tomorrow, so the final list of qualified teams to Morocco will be known. Thanks for joining us. And